You are now tuned in to the WRBZR and the CNC podcast. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy.
Welcome. Today, it's episode 4. This one's going to be a little bit harder to digest. Or maybe not. It just depends on how your perspective is. So, pretty much, I've been taking a hiatus from this podcast and stuff, but I still had episodes already recorded. I had to do some other things and music videos and commercials and do some other visual stuff, and I didn't really consider the time I'd be taking on to be doing these projects instead of me actually getting back to editing my own projects and stuff like that. But this is episode 4. This is the CNC podcast. It's your host, Why Not Derek, aka Derek Alston, aka We Finna Get It Done. So, a couple weeks ago, I did a video on how to make NFTs. People gravitate toward it a lot, but the main thing that I got out of it is that a lot of people wanted NFTs. Now, this is my thing. If you want an NFT from me, it's gonna cost you, right? Now, think about how much money an NFT costs. Think about how much money I'm asking. And it also depends on what I'm doing, right? So, a lot of the times the people don't want to pay for it because they don't know if they can actually get the sale back. But if you really look at it, it's a collectible item. And it's a collectible item that only you have. Even if you don't want to sell it, it's priceless. So trying to get a price for it sometimes is just a loss for you if you don't look at it like that, right? So boom. That's what I've been doing. You know what I mean? In between all the commercials and little bit of things I've been doing for other people, right? But it's also conditioning me to be able to be like get better with the camera because I'm usually just keep the camera stationary and do my recording podcast and shit. But it ain't even about the NFTs, honestly. Really, what this episode was about, or I was trying to make it about, was the fact that a lot of the times we keep things programmed in us, right? And a lot of people say that we're in the matrix, right? Which means usually you are not yourself, or you don't know who you are. You only know what you're being shown and exposed, right? So by me saying that, a lot of the times, if you really think about it, a lot of people are in the matrix. A lot of people don't know what their purpose is. And I'm not expecting that from everybody, but I'm also looking at it like this. After you spent so much time doing something over and over and over again, you got to look, is this your purpose, or is this just your daily get by? Or your long-term goal or your short-term goal for the long-term goal? It's the same thing like the 9 to 5, when you're hearing a rapper tell you that getting a 9 to 5 is whack, and you'll hear a lot of people say that, and I'll probably even say that, but the realistic part of it is, if you have responsibilities and you have things like that, then go do that. You know what I mean? Because you don't have enough room in your life to make the sacrifices or the mistakes or failures. And a lot of the times, people who actually are entrepreneurs and stuff like that, they do have the time, but it also depends on a lot of variables. You know what I mean? If you don't have a lot of money collected up, or you don't have somebody supporting you within the relationship or whatever the cause is, probably should just go get a 9 to 5. It's probably just going to be easier, and the struggle will probably be prevented by just doing that. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's just part of the conditional shit that we never really get past. We never really get past all these things that they tell us. They tell us the American dream, and we get stuck on that, and then we work our whole life to achieve that, which is literally oppression. Literally oppression is systematic oppression. They tell you go to school. When you go to school, graduate, find something you want to do, get in that field, study that field, master that, get a little degree from that. then go get that job, right? Now, here's the underlying shit that a lot of the times they don't tell us about all this American dream shit, right? Boom. Now, once you do that, first they don't tell you that you're going to be paying pretty much the rest of your life in the debt, and the job won't honestly pay off the debt until you're well retired or old, right? So you go to college, you get a degree. Most of the time, the field that you want to work won't really accept you or hire you without any experience. So you got to usually do something lower in that field just to be able to have experience in that field, period. You know what I mean? Then for you to be able to acquire enough experience for them to possibly look at you as a potential, you know what I mean, candidate. Then they have to hit you with minimums because you've worked in this field that pertains to this, but you haven't worked this exact thing that you worked. Let's say you wanted to be a scientist. You might need to be a whole bunch of other things in the field of science and stuff like that first in order for you to be able to even think you would be able to just be a scientist. You know what I mean? The practice, the studying, the experiment, and the just the work that goes into it, right? Okay, it's just like anything else, a social worker, whatever you want to choose. So then you get the job, right? And this is all part of the American dream. You know, you go to school, get good grades, do all these things. Then, the equal sign of it all is you know, live out the American dream. Be happy and have all these things established, and nothing else should really matter, which is kind of it traps you. It's just like marriage, you know what I mean? I'm not saying I don't believe in it, but I'm just saying to think that this is the last stage, is the stage, or this is the last chapter, that it's it's leaving no room for more. There's If you want more out of life, they say you go get more, you do more out of life. Well, if they say this is the top priority and this is the last of the last and the final, and this is the American dream, guess what that really does? It just suppresses you more. It suppresses you more into the shit that you think is going to make you. You think is going to make you. You think is going to keep you. And to me, it's just wild because it's like, okay, get out of school, get married, buy a house, have children, work, travel, do all these other things, and life's going to be happy. No one's talking about the underlying things that could happen between all of that. You know, you lose a job, the marriage isn't going great, the problems in the house, or whatever things that happen, like pandemics. They don't underline that shit. And the thing is, we get so conditionally programmed into it. You'll be 14, 15 years old saying that you want these things out of life without even knowing what you really want. So then what is your purpose? If your purpose was to live your life to get to the American dream, or live your life as the American dream, that's what they told you. And that's only a 5-segment thing. Like I just said, go to school, graduate, get the degree, and then get the job in the field. Then once you get the job in the field, get married, have children, live off your life. That's 5 principles that they tell us that we need to do. And then anything else underlining it that's good or bad, they don't speak about that. But that's things we should just know, right? Well, the crazy thing is common sense isn't common. So when you tell somebody that the American dream is a system that will oppress you, they will literally tell you no. And they will tell you that that's what their father did, and that's what their father's father did. And it's just more reasoning to show why and why and why. It's just in a circle, an oppression circle. The cycle just keeps going around. You're going to teach your kids that. Your kids are going to teach their kids that. The change has to come within somebody being, and I don't even want to say defiant, but not scared of asking the question, or not scared of doing it this way, or not scared of investing in something that might not give a great return, but it's the experience that we're really out for. That's the whole American dream, is the experience. And it's like, if that's the road you want to go on, how many times are you going to get to experience that the way they say it, the way they make it? You know what I mean? No, it doesn't work like that. When you come from a different space, in a different culture, in a different environment, you become a different product. It's crazy. It's so crazy that when you think of Cops and how it's filmed and the show, I mean, obviously, you just look and they drive in, these hood areas, and they're usually looking for things from what kind of people? Exactly, minorities. It's all over. All of these shows are implementing the same impression through different channels, through different avenues, and no one notices it. You look at The Social Dilemma, the movie's explaining all of these things about social media and how people are just lured in advertisement and marketing and how to monetize. And then you sit back and you realize that as much as they're doing all of this and capitalizing and making trillions, guess what we're doing? Feeding into it. We become the product. We're not the consumer anymore. We become the product. And then they know how to market the product. And then we get marketed just like Facebook. They could take your picture, do something with it, and guess what? The minute you upload it and didn't read the underlying shit that was in the contract or in the setting or in the terms and conditions for Facebook, guess what? They'll take your shit. Any information you put on there, they could use it. They could use your picture for an ad on their Facebook campaign or whatever it is. And guess what you can do about it? Nothing. Why? Because you signed up for it. It's the same reason why people put all their business on there as if the internet is real life. It's a form of entertainment. It's a portal or whatever you make it, and it's way vast. It's way more vast than we could ever fathom it. Everything's in front of us. The algorithm is here. A lot of it's behind things. You ever see these bots and all these weird people that just view your shit and you're just like, who the fuck is this? You think that's a person or you think that's some other source? Regardless of the fact it doesn't capture our attention because we're not thinking about it as being a sign for something. We're thinking that it is just a form of entertainment, and sometimes we don't know how to differentiate that shit. But it comes all back to the cultural shit because not a lot of us were having cell phones and technology and all this kind of shit. It even goes back to our understanding. Like I had a conversation with this individual when we were just talking about life, and he was talking about how he had to become a dad at a time in his life that he wasn't ready. And I was explaining to him, like, you can't always choose when and why, and usually you barely get to choose where, at what point. And I was telling him, like, bro, like, when we were young, certain things that we did weren't looked at as like they weren't implementing practicing safe sex or proper sex or just the right kind of, they weren't doing that, you know what I mean? And as we didn't see that, our role models weren't showing us that. Like, our role models were showing that they had multiple women cheating, doing these kind of things, and guess what that did in our life? We became a product of that. And a lot of it is trauma, and it's circumstantial because that's just the environment and the things that, we go through. Even when you think about just life, you look at life and look at the top points of life, and you're like, yo, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a scientist. I want to be a lawyer. But you don't see these things around. You don't see these kind of people around, especially in the hood. You see more cops and you see more drug dealers than you see lawyers or people that of that stature. You see regular 9-to-5 people, but you're not even so invested in the understanding what the 9-to-5 is because they're trying to do what? Live the American dream. I mean, make ends meet. Be happy, keep a roof over their head. The same conditional shit, the same matrix. Yeah, the matrix. That's literally what it is. And it sucks because a lot of the times you don't even realize that you're caught in it. But then it's like the cultural shit that even brings you deeper into the matrix. Because of the trauma, because of the shit you endured, because of the shit that you think you're going to endure, and then the way you think, and then the mindset that you carry, then the perception that you give off, and then the energy you give off, and then you're like, everyone does me dirty, or and a lot of times it's just you. It be you. A lot of the times we need to fix ourselves. We don't need other people to fix us. We don't always need that. The same reason why they give you medication, suppress you. Oh, you can't control yourself? Here, we'll give you a pill so we can control that. And people are okay with taking it. And that's fine. That's okay, because when I get headaches, sometimes I take an aspirin too or something like that. but I'm not taking a prescription that's prescribed to me with my name on it that I can't buy over the counter. How many times I need to take it? What I need to take it with? Damn, it's down to that much of an understanding of being in the matrix. It's the same way that they'll market all these different water bottles and water labels and do all of this when a lot of the times it's just spring water. It's just distilled water, which you can pretty much do at home. No reverse osmosis, literally. So there's a lot of matrix conditional things where you're just like, damn, I hate to be in this, you know. I hate to care what other people think at the same time, but that little percentage of me caring about what they think is the same percentage that I'm only acting to what's represented in front of me. I'm a reflection of that. You know what I mean? I'm never the one to go out there and do things and cause problems, but if the problems are caused, I'm only a reflection of it. I'm only meeting these things, if, you know, in the front view. I'm not looking at it in the rear view. I'm not looking at it in the side mirrors. I'm looking at it straight in the front view, right through the windshield. Because that kind of confrontation is the confrontation that you try to run from your whole life, when it's just like I said on the other episode. Them battles that you be fighting is the reason why you can't be happy in this, and you can't be happy with the minuscule things. You can't be happy with the big scale things. You can't just be happy being alive. Breathing, having a roof over your head, having a car, having the ability to. The ability to is a big thing, and you can insert any word, but it's just some people don't have the ability to. The ability to love, the ability to learn, the ability to like, the ability to listen, the ability to do, the ability to drive, the ability to have discipline. I could go on forever, but the ability to. Some people don't have that. They're unable. It's just they're insufficient when it comes to that. And it could be energy. It could be whatever. People wake up and hate themselves. Why? It's because they're looking at somebody else's life and they can't mirror it. Why? Because that's the American dream. Or that's what's influencing them. Look at all these rappers. Rick Ross said, I put a Molly on her champagne and she ain't even know it. Crazy, right? Crazy to think that when you really think about what he was saying, you're like, oh, like that's nothing. But that's the kind of shit that they've been saying, they've been doing. That kind of shit that's going on is the same reason why I be looking around like, man, you know, a lot of the times I want to blame shit. I want to blame people for the way. And it's really just the understanding of just knowing when I'm trapped in some kind of abyss of shit that I know that's implementing my life and my direction and the where I'm going, why I'm going, what I'm doing. That's because of all the shit. Think about all those songs that were saying fucked up shit like that. You know what I mean? The Yang Yang Twins, I was 14, 15 listening to that. They weren't saying fucking go to school, go to work. They were saying, wait till you see my, and they were whispering it. You know what I mean? Like they were teaching us to have they were teaching us the practice of all this shit before, prior. But, think about it. They weren't making the music for us. They were making it for the generation ahead of us. I mean, behind us. Or ahead of us, or the generation older than us. But only because we were so curious to understand it. Now it's the same repetitive thing. You got kids making TikToks. You know what that does to your attention span? Just repeatedly watching, scrolling, shorter. Then what? Then you can't remember nothing? It's like a flash drive. You got to get loaded up for you to remember shit and work. All these side effects and things, you don't even think about it because you're just so hooked on the fact that you're like, get more out of life, do better, get more money, be better than this person, or try to be like that person. Yo, people were going crazy for Rihanna being pregnant when their cousin got a business and they don't even support or post them. And they might even be living with him. He might even be a partner of it. It's just crazy the way people just put things on Front Street for them to be a part of it, to feel attention. When it's like you got to learn when to pick and choose. And if you're not good at pick and choosing, don't. Just don't. Just don't pick or don't choose. Or don't let it be known that you're that kind of mixy person to be in between and not know what the balance is. You know what I mean? That's the worst. It's just like the person knowing that you're good at something, then they seeing how good you are doing it, and then they fall to the I could get used to this. I could get used to this kind of energy, this kind of shit. And it's like your intention's not for you to grow. This intention is this intention is not for us to grow. This is intention for you to grow. That's the crazy thing. Some people see it as an opportunity to get embraced, or some people will get refilled. And it's like, how much do you expect me to fill you before I run out? It's the same way. It's always applicable back to the matrix, because we being stuck in this one box right here. All you can see is inside of this right here. This, just this. Anything else doesn't matter, but that's the perception. That's your mind. That's the mindset. That one box they told you. Everything they told you is in that one box. Everything you read, the same way they tell us Christopher Columbus and all the bullshit. You know what I mean? Indigenous Day. Now we have Indigenous Day. It's crazy. It's crazy how much, as long as history isn't getting corrected, people keep thinking it's getting repeated. It's not getting repeated. It's never ended to be able to repeat again. It never ended. A lot of it now is just reforming. A lot of it is reforming between the racist and the social stigmas, the malnourished people who don't get enough, the people who get too much, the people who want to be poor when they're fucking well off, the people who want to be rich when they're poor, the people who want to be smart when they just don't have fucking wisdom. They just could read a whole bunch of words in the dictionary. Just like, welcome to the Matrix. What would you like to give up to continue? And then they usually give it all up. Give it all up. Give it all away. And then swear being vulnerable is the teetering bait. Like, listen, you'd be vulnerable to somebody that use it against you. Guess what? You look at that person and be like, your intention was to harm me. Your intention was to manipulate to show who you are and how you can. And guess what? When they get left by themselves, they're going to go through it. And then the trauma is going to start haunting them. And then all the things of, guess what? They're going to be by themselves going through it. And they're going to reach back out. And that's how it works. That's exactly how it works. When you know you're in this abyss of shit, you reach out for people to pull them in. And then those people are smart enough to get back out, because they got their own ecosystem that they built. The fuck I'm gonna let you come in my ecosystem and fuck it up because your ecosystem's fucked up? Why? Why? Let's work on this one thing, right? Right here. Create your own ecosystem. Create your own happiness. Create your own destiny. Live your fucking life. Account for the failures and the mistakes. But don't be scared to live on, because I'm telling you you're caught in the matrix, or I'm telling you I'm caught in the matrix, but I'm aware of it, which means I'm navigating different ways. You don't see me post public shit that goes on in my day-to-day life. No, you see my creative life. Doesn't mean my day-to-day life is great or bad. It's just my choice, and I'm not fronting. It ain't no fronting. That's the crazy thing. There's no fronting about it. Like, if people see me, I look how and talk how, and this is my representation. And just like I said before, I'm just reflecting the energy. So it's a lot of the times, if people have anything bad to say, just think about what they're saying to you first, before they're saying what I said or how they feel I took it. Just think about, they might have been the one projecting that first. And I was just honest and raw about it. And that wasn't enough for them, because that's the thing. What's enough? What's enough? I'm going to leave you with that question. What is enough? Is it love? Is it money? Is it cars? Is it energy? What is it? Is it crypto? Is it the metaverse? What is it? It needs to be something so you can get out of this goddamn matrix. And it's systematic oppression. We're not suppressing shit this year. Matter of fact, we wasn't suppressing shit last year. But I was just more low-key because I was working on a lot of plots and moves to help myself. When I get in that depression shit, guess what I do? I work through it. Yeah, we all don't work through it, but guess what I do? And I'm not saying you can too, but I'm saying you can do something about it. You can do something about it. You don't need to be taking medication to think that that's going to slow you down. Guess what? It changes you. And when you get changed, you don't know how to adapt to being that person now that is changed. That's the Matrix. Matter of fact, I'm going to have an overlay, some Matrix shit in the background. Make it look cool. You know what I mean? Like, and the crazy thing is I'm sitting on episodes. You feel me? I'm sitting on episodes right now while still doing episodes. I just don't have the time to sit down and do what I need to do. I need to be editing them, video, upload, weekly, Sunday, 8 o'clock, cover art, all that. But it's me. I'm one person. I don't have a team of people that do it. I'm the one that sets this all up. I'm the one who got to record it. I'm the one who got to edit it. And I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying, think about if I have 24 hours in a day. Think about it. And I sleep for a certain amount of time. And from the beginning to the end, that time is already taken up in my sleep. Now I got to do things like other people asking questions, inquiries about art, commissions, NFTs, podcasts, how, what, where, who, whatever it is. Then I got my own shit. I got a clothing line. I got a vintage company. I got a podcast. And I have a documentary being a post. This is the third, fourth episode of it. And on top of just having a regular life, relationships, women, nephews, family, uncles, bad things happening, good things happening in life, ideas, creative, money, crypto. I got my own shit going on. You don't see me out here complaining. All I do is just give energy. And some of y'all are open arms to it because you know that you could use it. And some of y'all are just looking at it like, oh, he thinks he's better than people. I'm not better than no one. I'm just not scared. I'm not scared to fail or feel as if I'm right or feel as if I'm wrong. Or just be the one and just be like, I'm humble enough to let you know that y'all can't fuck with me. And why do I say that? Because that's how I feel. If you're the number one draft pick, you got to feel like you're the best motherfucker around. Best motherfucker on this floor right now, in this area. You got to feel like that. Not the arrogant way, but in the confident way that you know you could do it. Just like how I could come back off of doing all these other projects, never posting their shit, signing NDAs just so it's easier for me so I don't got to deal with that. Let's sign the NDA, create the content, you deal with it. Then it's like, oh, but that ain't got nothing to do with me. You ain't worrying about my pockets. You ain't worried about what I'm doing. I'm gaining experience, resume, repertoire, whatever. It's a rapport that I have with life that I'll never give up. I'm a creator. I'm gonna work. I'm never gonna stop that. But what I will stop doing is being put on this one track where everything that I do, everything that I say is because I'm oppressed. I'm not. I have my own individuality. I know my own path. I speak with elegance. And even if it's not elegance, I speak with grace. The grace that can make you really listen and look at the podcast like, damn, he know what he's saying. He's on to something. He talking that, you know, that kind of shit. That kind of shit that got me recording in the daytime. Because if I wait till nighttime and start doing all this shit, I ain't got time for it. So it's the same reason why you looking around doing this and asking questions. I ain't got the time for it. Sorry. And I'm not being fake funny. I just don't got the time for it. And people want that access, but I'm not even giving myself that access. So why the fuck would I give it to you? Right? Think about that. Think about that. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting. Never give up. Always push. Peace, love, and positivity. Why not, Derek? CNC Podcast. I'm out.
You are now tuned in to the WRBZR and the CNC Podcast. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy.